Hello, my friend. Today, you and I are going to do something really fun together. So, people have been talking about Chat GPT for a while. I have to admit, I've never checked it out, and today I'm going to have my first conversation with Chat GPT. I know, I'm always late for everything, but a few days ago, it suddenly occurred to me people are having the fear of Chat GPT or AI in general is going to replace us as a writer. They are having the fear of AI is going to be able to write a very comprehensive story and then going to generate movie automatically, things like that. That might happen in the future, but I started thinking if the AI can write a good screenplay, they must have very good screenwriting tips. So today, you and I are going to ask ChatGPT for screenwriting tips, and then we are going to react and have a conversation based off those screenwriting tips with actual human brain. And I wanted this to be a conversation, so feel free to leave a comment down below. What's your thoughts on the writing tips? I'm going to split this video into two different parts, and I'm going to react to half of the tips in each video. So yeah, let's go ahead and ask ChatGPT to give us some tips on writing a good screenplay. Let's do this. Okay, I'm about to hit send. For some reason, I'm a little bit nervous. I think it's probably because I had a bad experience with Alexa and Siri, things like that. So I'm a little bit worried this is going to go south. Let's see. Wow, I'm kind of impressed. So let's go ahead, chat about it. Alright, here's the ChatGPT writing tip number 1. Start with a compelling concept. Begin with a unique, engaging concept that has the potential to captivate audiences. A strong concept forms the foundation of a great screenplay. Yes and no on this one. I think it is always good to have a great concept, but we need to be very careful how we define what is a good concept. A lot of time I find what prevents us from writing is that we think we don't have a great idea. A lot of time when people think about a good concept, they think about a unique plot, a plot that hasn't been written. But I think a good concept could be an interesting character, a way of storytelling, or a unique perspective, things like that. You name it. Broadening the definition of the good concept can help us expand the possibility of coming up with compelling stories, and it also frees us to experiment different story technique, different things during the writing process. Majority of the story we're seeing today are stories we've heard many times. They are just being remixed in a very unique and a compelling way. This reminded me a YouTube video that I watched years ago. I probably mentioned on this channel before. It's called Everything is a Remix. If you haven't checked out that video, be sure to watch it. I'm going to leave a link in the description down below. It's very inspiring. Alright, the second writing tip from ChatGPT, and I'm having Booker here with us. Alright, so it says, develop strong characters, create well-rounded and interesting characters that the audience can connect with. Give them clear motivations, goals, and conflicts that drive their actions and decisions. Absolutely. There are two great examples coming into my mind because of this tip: Nomadland and 5 Easy Pieces. They are not the kind of film with a dramatic plot, but they are the kind of film with interesting and complex characters who is living in a conflicting world. Most of the time when a story failed to keep the audience engaged, it's not because the plot is boring, but it's because the character is flat and unrelatable. ChatGPT tip number 3. Structure your screenplay effectively. Follow a recognized screenplay structure, such as the 3-act structure. Ensure that your story has a clear setup, rising action, climax, and resolution. Use plot points to mark key events and turning points in your story. I'm not so sure about this one. To me, I think 3-act structure is necessary and it's a great tool for beginners to understand, learn, and analyze stories. But we shouldn't limit our writing with the 3-act structure. And a lot of great story actually doesn't follow the exact same rule. A good story is about keeping audience engaged and then taking audience on a journey of the character or a group of characters. And our job as writer is to make sure audience are able to empathize with the character's wants and needs, and also make sure the audience can learn and understand the changes that's required within the character. It doesn't even matter whether or not the character changes in the end of the story. As long as audience experience the arc internally within themselves, I think it's a successful story. That being said, even though the 3-act structure is not the key to a good story, it's still a good foundation, a good knowledge to have to help us to build basic sense of storytelling. Chat GPT writing tip number 4. Show, don't tell. Screenplays are visual mediums, so focus on showing actions, gestures, and the visuals that convey information and emotions. Minimize excessive dialogue or unnecessary expositions. I'm so surprised the ChatGPT offered this tip, and I couldn't agree more. In my rewrite stage, I have an entire process dedicated to this tip. What I will do is I will go through the entire script from the beginning, scene by scene, to identify the dialogues that can be replaced by visual and figure out a way to replace it. Although sometimes I also love poetic dialogues, those long monologues that might not deliver any literal information but serves the purpose of echoing the theme as well as setting tone for the film. A good example, if you've seen my feature film, you probably noticed I've done those long monologue a few times throughout the film. If you haven't seen it yet, remember to check it out. You can rent from a lot of different streaming platforms. I'll make sure to leave the link down below. In terms of dialogues, as long as all the dialogues in the story that serves some sort of purpose other than just give you straight up information, I think you're good. ChatGPT tip number 5. Write engaging dialogue. Craft a dialogue that's natural, authentic, and reveals character traits. Each character should have a distinct voice and a manner of speaking. Use subtext and meaningful sub-communication to add depth to your dialogue. This is a good one. Dialogue is probably the best way to showcase a character. I do this by usually referencing someone I know. When I write a dialogue for each character, I think of someone and then trying to sound like that person that I know so I can have a character that's more stable throughout the story. And also in my dialogue rewrite process, I like to go into the scene to examine each dialogue line by line to make sure there is a subtext underneath it. I try to make sure every single dialogue is a lie, either a lie to people they are talking to or a lie to themselves. Of course, for the most of the time, they're not even aware of they are lying to themselves yet. For example, in my last film, there's this character who is always trying to help and support and encourage my leading character who was going through a lot. On the surface, this is just a very nice lady who is friendly and trying to help. But in my mind, all the dialogue that she say is a lie to herself and to other people, because this character is someone who feels lonely and also lost, confused in her own life. To help someone, to encourage and guiding someone is her way to feel a little better about herself because she feels a sense of superior towards someone. And this is how I make this supporting character someone who is fuller, who has some depth, instead of just simply an ally to the leading character. Remember, there's always an intention behind the things someone says. Okay, these are the part 1 of reacting to writing tips from Chat GPT. Honestly, I'm very impressed by the tips it offered. And if you like this video, remember to subscribe and support. And there will be part 2 of the video coming up soon. And meanwhile, you might also enjoy this video right here. And thank you so much for watching. Be patient, be present, stay creative. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!